Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, June 28th. So today we have a pretty busy day in the cosmos. We are going to see the moon in Libra shift into Scorpio energy, and we have 13 different aspects here today, which means that it is going to be a little bit of a scatterbrain type of energy, a scattered focus type of energy. Anytime we are transitioning from that Libran energy to Scorpio energy, just remember that Scorpio energy is hated amongst the collective. Why is that? Well, because we feel things pretty deeply. We unlock new levels of intuition. We do a deep dive in our psyche. We transmute the darker energies into light. And most people have a very, very big problem with addressing their emotions and really digging in the darkness of their shadow. So there is an intensity that takes over with the moon in Scorpio. Just keep in mind that it is about transformation, and emotionally speaking, we are going through it. With 13 different aspects here today, 10 of them involve the moon. We are definitely going to be refining our emotions and unearthing, uncovering some of the darker thoughts, the darker emotions that we would rather avoid and run away from. We start the day off with the moon still in Libran energy, making an aspect with Neptune, who of course is in his place of power in Pisces energy, just days away from joining the other major heavy hitting planets in a retrograde. So what we get here is a choice point. And the choice point, the decision point that we're being offered really kind of, I'm going to say, is being stemmed from our imagination, our dreams, our vision. And of course, we're in this refinement energy of trying to get the details of what it is that we actually want to manifest down to the minuscule details so that we can manifest it correctly. But we're still confused. We still have decisions to make. We still have unanswered questions. We are missing some puzzle pieces. And what we're going to be doing right now with this particular energy is really trying to find the balance between hopes and wishes versus logical and practical action. So there is a tendency for us to kind of dream a dream that is so far away from the current realm of our current circumstances that we kind of set ourselves up for disappointment and failure. We have to do better. We have to understand that we need to kind of dream and create a vision that is logical and practical and achievable, attainable. And that may mean kind of recognizing where the greater, grander vision is and where it is that we have to kind of chop it up into smaller, manageable pieces and really give ourselves a chance of being able to find peace and harmony and balance in achieving the steps, the plan, the strategy that's going to get us away from where it is that we're at and closer to where it is that we desire to be. The last aspect that the moon in Libra is going to make is not a nice one. We get into the boxing ring and we square off with Pluto, the great transformer. Now, this particular energy is definitely going to throw us into an extreme emotion, an extreme thought, an extreme mood, an extreme attitude. Why is that? Because the moon in Libra is all about finding balance, but we find balance through the experience of the extremes. And because Pluto, the great transformer himself, is retrograde in this Capricorn energy, it is a funk, it is a weight, it is a heaviness. But what we are doing is we are kind of illuminating where things don't feel so good, where the thought process isn't as happy, as positive as we would like it. We are addressing the intense emotions and thoughts coming over us in order for us to change them, transmute them, transform them into something better, into something workable, into something lighter. So the moon goes void, of course. We are only void for, I'm going to say, about 45 minutes before we lock into that Scorpio energy at 4:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We sit in that for a couple of hours before any other aspects take place. The moon in Scorpio now goes ahead and interacts with Venus. Venus being the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money in the heart and soul of the zodiac in Leo energy, really pushing us to get heart aligned, heart-centered, in exploring who and what means the most to us, who and what brings us the most safety, security, happiness, joy, pleasure, identifying who isn't living up to what it is that we need them to live up to, especially in our personal relationships, in order for us to truly express ourselves, have that heart to heart, get it off of our chest, declare what isn't working for us, in attempt to make things right. The moon interacting with Venus in this way is going to change our perspective, is going to change our emotions, is going to change the way that we are feeling currently about our current circumstances, about our personal relationships, about the ever-changing landscape of our inner realm. The moon then goes ahead, sits across from, directly opposes the north node in Taurus, which means that we are seeing the moon in Scorpio sit on top of, conjunct, the south node in Scorpio energy. So I think it's important to talk about the fact that we will see the true nodes of the moon shift into the Aries and Libran axis here in July. Go ahead, go back, listen to the 2023 energy forecast that I put out at the beginning of the year. Look up the month of July. Get a good grip on what this is going to mean for you. I have done multiple astro classes over on my Patreon talking about the true nodes of the moon, what the Taurus and Scorpio life lesson was, what the Aries and Libran life lessons will be. And so we're getting a taste right now on wrapping up this particular life lesson in this Taurus and Scorpio energy. And so the moon opposing, sitting across from the north node in Taurus, that is our soul path. That's the path we have to be on. That's what we have to grow into, what we have to progress into. And of course, the south node is our familiar area, the comfortability factor, if you will. That's what we're looking to break away from. So the moon in Scorpio sitting on top of and conjuncting the south node in Scorpio energy means that there is a tendency to have a death grip on the old, on the familiar. We're having a hard time breaking free from our unconscious patterns. We're having a hard time detaching from the old systems, the old structures. The opposition to the north node in Taurus is saying, hey, come on, you got to let it go. You got to surrender. You got to cut the cord. You got to detach. We have to boss up. We have to create something new. We have to build new routines, relationship dynamics. We have to tap into new resources. But the natural disposition is for us to say, you know what? I'm good. I'm comfy here. This is familiar. I know what I'm doing here. Not really in the mood to grow and improve right now. And so this is the tug of war. This is the back and forth that we will be experiencing in our emotional realm. So the sun in Cancer energy is going to semi-square, which creates a little bit of a tension point, a little bit of a conflict, with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who of course is in Taurus energy. So this is really not going to feel very good. It's going to trigger a lot of restless energy. Many of us have had ants in our pants already because, of course, there is this impulse to take action, to move forward, to grow, to improve, to progress, but we don't know how. We don't know what direction. We don't know what the answers are, and therefore, the energy is just kind of bouncing around like a pinball machine. And so this restlessness isn't going to feel good. It never does. Here's the thing about it, though. It's not enough restlessness and energy for us to be productive in making progress or seeing things change. It's not enough of that, but it's also kind of, I'm going to say, undirected energy where we can't find a proper channel to get it out of our body. So most time, restless energy, we can engage the physical body in tasks and chores that are kind of mundane, that put us in autopilot in order to get that not so nice energy out of our bodies. This particular aspect is really going to illuminate for us where it is that we do want to make change, where we do want to shake things up, where we do want to break away from the mundane tasks and routine, but we don't know how. We don't know how. We don't know where to even start. So what do? We just kind of walk around not knowing what to do with ourselves, and that never feels good. Now, keep in mind, it is best to keep things simple because there is a high probability, a very high likelihood that there are going to be disruptions, there are going to be wild card events, there are going to be just situations that don't go according to plan. And because we're in this restless, edgy type of energy, we could really respond in horrible ways to wrenches being thrown in our plant. So it's best to kind of expect things to go to hell in a handbag, because that way you won't be as disappointed when they actually do. The overall mood and attitude of being in Cancer season is really kind of putting us in a vulnerable situation, and we're at a very, I'm going to say, sensitive breaking point where our emotions are concerned. So let's just pace ourselves. Let's not take on too much. Let's be open to change, and let's just understand that the restlessness, the edginess inside of us needs an outlet. It needs a way to get out of our physical form. So the moon in Scorpio is going to go ahead and trine beautiful energy with Mercury. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, ruler of communication. Just moved into this Cancer energy. Go back, listen to the astro forecast if you need to refresh yourself on what this little kind of window of opportunity is going to do for us. But this is some water on water action. And the one thing that we know about water is it is highly transformative. It's the only element that can take on all three forms: gas, liquid, solid. And so what we get here is an opportunity for our heart and our head to be working together to uncover the truth, uncover the blockages, uncover the challenges. Now that may seem like a funk, like something that we would rather not do. However, it's flowing very well, and it's cleansing us at the same time. It's purifying our emotions. It's refining what the primary root cause of our dysfunction, of our, I'm going to say, vulnerability actually is. And so we're going to make some very positive progress with this aspect because our heart and our head are on the same page. We are getting down to the nitty gritty of what it is that we absolutely need. And of course, we're pulling information in from our exterior realm through a different filter now that Mercury is in Cancer energy and we're blending the intellect with our intuition. The moon in Scorpio is then going to make a positive interaction with Neptune, who of course is in Pisces energy, another water on water action energy. What is this doing? Well, it's inspiring us. It's downloading us with new intuitive and psychic insights. It is really strengthening our intuition, really allowing us to trust our gut. Trust what it is that we're feeling on the inside versus what it is that we are seeing from our physical circumstances. And so this is a good energy for us to kind of understand where it is that we have to detach from the physical realm, lose ourselves in the spiritual realm, in the land of imagination, in the fantasy of what it is that we want to be living, what it is we want to create, what it is we want to manifest. Because again, as you may remember, we have been in a time, especially in Gemini season, where we weren't open to our intuition. We weren't open to fantasy or imagination or hopes or wishes. What we were open to was the logical, practical facts of the circumstances in which we're in. And of course, that doesn't bring any kind of hopes and wishes and dreams into fruition. We're only kind of dealing with the matter of facts. So this is a time when we're opening the door to our emotional realm, to our intuitive realm, to the vision, to the dreams that we need to remind ourselves that we actually have so that we can get motivated and inspired, make a change, make a transformation in our emotions to orient ourselves on a path that will get us somewheres out of these physical circumstances and closer to the circumstances in which we want to manifest. The moon in Scorpio is going to make a positive interaction with Mars, its co-ruler, who is in the Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, who is, I'm going to say, on the verge of being able to take action. We're going to be able to take action in July when Mars actually moves into Virgo energy. Right now, we need to get to the primary root cause of some of our discontentment. We have to really align with our heart space to figure out what it is that we're excited about, what it is that we're passionate about, what it is that we truly desire. And Mars, who rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion in this Leo energy, is tapping into the boldness, the bravery, the courage that we're going to need to actually boss up, to take action, to progress ourselves and assert ourselves in the direction, in the path in which we actually want to manifest. So there is this edginess there because, of course, Mars always wants to take action, always wants to be making moves. But this is a strategy of the heart space, preparing us, really refining our emotions, really kind of taking a good look at what it is that we want to pursue so that when we are in a forward movement, we know exactly where we have to spend our energy, where it is that our time, energy, and attention is needed the most. So this is an inspiring, motivating type of energy. We are shifting our inner realm out of frustration into empowerment. And there is an overall sense of really kind of bossing up, really kind of leaning into that rebellious streak that we need, that I'm going to say warrior type of spirit that we're going to need in order to break free from some of the attachments, connections that are holding us back. The moon will then trine the sun. So we're trining because it's a water on water energy. And anytime that the moon and the sun come together, it's a realization of the past meeting the future. And what we're left with is here in this present moment. So the moon being our emotional realm, being very representative of the past, in Scorpio energy, we are recognizing where it is that we're too fixated on holding on to the things that are even bothersome, that are providing us with challenges and obstacles. The sun is shining a bright light in Cancer energy on what it is that we want to move into. And in Cancer energy, it should be moving into a place of safety, security, stability. It should be moving into a place of bossing up, nurturing ourselves back to a place of, I'm going to say, safety and security within us, within our emotional realms. It is essentially shining a bright light on what it is that we need to build in our lives to provide us with all of the things that we're currently lacking. So again, the overlap leaves us in this present moment where we're recognizing through the Scorpio energy what it is that we absolutely need to let go of in order to free ourselves up to build something new in its place. So instead of holding on to grudges, instead of being fixated on the pain and trauma, instead of identifying with all of those horrible experiences that have made us into who it is that we are, now we're recognizing what is still broken, what is still alive and well as far as the shadow realm of our experiences go. And from that, the sun in Cancer should be shining a bright light on where it is that we have to build something a little bit more supportive and encouraging and nurturing for us so that we're not constantly bringing the past into the present. The moon will then trine Saturn. A lot of trines here because we have some planets in water. And so this is going to definitely show us where it is that, emotionally speaking, we are making a change, we are making a transformation, especially where our beliefs are concerned. And a lot of the Saturn energy is over the roles and responsibilities that we have in life, our reputation, the karmic chapters that we're currently in. But the Pisces energy is about our unconscious self, where it is that we have to heal certain parts of ourselves, where it is that we are ending soul contracts. And all of this is based off belief, what we believe to be true, what we believe we are deserving and worthy of. And because Saturn is kind of, providing us a deconstruction opportunity right now, we're picking apart where it is that we're no longer in alignment with certain levels of beliefs. We are kind of realizing where it is that we're not moving forward due to this negative thought pattern preventing us from actually making progress. So this is a trine. This is a good energy. This means that we are having realizations. We are having epiphanies. We are having, I'm going to say, situations and circumstances pop off in order for us to illuminate what it is that we're over, what it is that we're done with. And from that, we are really taking a good look at what it is that we want to build in the place, in the space of the things that are falling apart and falling away. The moon is then going to sit across from, directly oppose Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, is in Taurus energy. Taurus and Scorpio energy sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. They represent the axis of, let's say, birth, creation versus death and destruction. The Taurus energy, of course, is about worth and value here in the physical form, the materialistic realm, if you will, what it is that we can build, what it is that we can create to support ourselves, our routines, our relationships, our money matters. The Scorpio energy requires us to put a death to, an ending to, a closure to, whatever it is that is blocking us from making the major transformations in our physical lives that we know that we have to make. And so there is this give and take. There is this ending versus beginning. There is this axis of realizing where it is that we have to do the shadow work, Scorpio energy, in order to level up our self-worth and therefore our monetary worth, Taurus energy. So Jupiter is kind of magnifying, turning the volume all the way up on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. And right now, the moon in Scorpio is very deep, very dark, very probing. We want to look at Jupiter being in Taurus energy for the next year, giving us an opportunity to build, or should I say, recreate our physical realms and realities in order to align with our higher self versus the circumstances that we've already built based off of ego self. And we have a huge opportunity to boss up in relationships, in money, in our physical realms, in our possessions, in our self-worth. But there are some blockages preventing us from actually moving forward and being able to create that kind of realm. And a lot of those blockages stem back from the pain and the trauma of our past experience and our failure to not only process it correctly, but our failure to actually want to let it go. Many of us, again, have really built our identities based off of the pain and trauma and storylines of our experiences. And it's really hard to let go of some of that pain and trauma because it means that you don't know who it is that you are without that storyline supporting you, or in some cases as an excuse to get you out of certain circumstances, especially where moving forward and making progress is concerned. So there's going to be a huge, intense emotion that takes over that's going to illuminate where inside of you, either emotion or memory or thoughts, where it is that you're essentially blocking the progress and moving forward, blocking your opportunities to make things better, blocking your opportunities to recreate a realm of reality that is more in alignment with your higher self than your ego self. So then the sun in Cancer energy trines another beautiful energy with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy. So what this is going to do is, first of all, it brings us down to earth a little bit because Saturn always gives us a little bit of a reality check. But what this also does is that we are kind of bossing up to new levels of self-discipline. And the background of the moon being in Scorpio, kind of pushing for progress, pushing for change, pushing for transformation. This is illuminating for us where it is that we, instead of being afraid or overwhelmed for bossing up to new soul contracts, new roles and responsibilities due to the new timelines that we're in, now it's almost like we have a new sense of strength, a new sense of pride. We want to boss up. We want to really test our abilities to meet ourselves in a different space. We want to see that we are, yes, grounded and stable, but that we have a grounded and stable perspective on what is actually achievable. And again, this goes back to kind of biting off more than you can chew and then setting yourself up for disappointment when you're unable to achieve the dreams and the goals and the visions that you set yourself out to kind of pursue. And then of course don't, because they're so far away from the current circumstance in which you're living in. So this is like, we're finally starting to see a little bit of enjoyment, realizing that we are kind of closing the old out. And in doing that, we are closing the door on old roles, old responsibilities, old duties, old tasks, old chores, old obligations, old commitments, and instead really leveling up and really feeling a sense of pride, being able to kind of see where it is that we are kind of growing, we are improving, we are making some very, very good progress. The last thing that we have going on here today is Mercury semi-squaring with Venus. So this isn't going to be fun because it brings a certain misunderstanding to our relationship dynamics. We're not communicating effectively. We are not understanding what other people are saying to us. The decision-making process that we're currently in that is confusing as F is going to be amplified even more so. It is not easy for us to concentrate. It's not easy for us to connect with our heart space. We're kind of all over the place. We feel like there is, I'm going to say, a disconnect. Just overall, we're not feeling in alignment. We feel kind of squeamish in our own physical bodies. And so, it's not going to feel good, but prepare yourself to A, be misunderstood, and B, misunderstand other people. And hopefully with that awareness, we can avoid having some conversations and some situations pop off that will have to be cleaned up later.